Just to give, excuse me, a little bit of context, this was for a client of mine. This is the first time I did this process with a client, and I'm showing this to you guys. After showing it to him, he loved it, which is awesome, and I'm happy for that. And I didn't really change the vibe board. Well, I call it a vibe board, but I didn't really change the stylescape from the first time I sent it to you. So now, besides some changes, some text, but I did make this presentation, as you said, from the last critique. So I'm going to address my client now. His name is Michael. So Michael, thank you for having me. Thanks for coming through this process with me for the first time. I'm excited to work on this because I feel like we share similar passions. So based off the first meeting, our discovery call, we dived real deep into your brand. I got some real good insight into what you're doing, and I got some real good insight into your vision and where you see your brand going. And once again, I'm just excited to be a part of it. What this is I call this a vibe board that we're about to walk through. Everything we learned from the first meeting is boiled down into a vibe board. It's very similar to like a mood board. I learned it from a brand marketing expert, a branding expert. Named Chris Doe. He's a really handsome guy and really great expert in branding. He works with some of the biggest brands in the world. So I learned this process from him, and it's just a segue from learning about your business to coming to the design. So instead of just learning about your business and just, here's what I think it should look like, or here's a design, instead of doing that, we take one step at a time and we say, all right, here's the vibe that I believe I'm getting from your brand. And here's a vibe that I believe your brand should be giving off to its audience. So based off your purpose and based off your audience, I believe this is the vibe you should be giving off with your brand. So before we get into the actual design, I pulled some imagery from around the web. I did a little bit of design, but most of this I'm going to show you is from the internet and images curated to put together a vibe per se that your brand should be giving off. So your company is called Experience Real, and essentially, just to catch up, you are you consider yourself a conscious rapper that is also on a social justice movement. You want to inspire people in the urban community and uplift them. Right now, you plan on doing that as a conscious rapper with lyrics and music and whatnot, and you plan on using music sales in that part of your brand. You plan on using that to reach and inspire your audience, which is the urban community and people that are dreamers and feel like they're not really, feel like they're neglected probably in the world. And you're kind of wanting to start a revolution per se for this community that I also come from. So that's another reason why I'm passionate and I love this project. So we started with 3 words essentially to put this together and for you, and that was inspiring, urban, and creative. We're here at these first 3 words. I really like the bold lettering that's for your brand that I feel like would be perfect because it's, you're bold, right? You're bold and you're edgy, it's sharp. And also you have the urban aspect of it with the graffiti. So I believe that's, these things work synergetic to display your brands, represent your brand. So here's a kind of like a mission statement we came up with to get some more direction on your brand. And I believe it's perfect for what you're doing. And this mission reads, dedicated to spreading love and integrity in environments that lack positive images. So I feel like I love this. It's kind of words that you said to me that I kind of just spliced together. And I feel like this is the best way in a short slogan, in a short phrase that we can describe your brand to somebody. And here is the actual vibe board in its entirety. We're going to zoom in here in a second to kind of look at the first half, the left half of it, and then the right half of it. But here's it in its entirety, and here's kind of the vibe I believe your brand's giving off. The first thing you're probably going to notice is the 3 gentlemen that are in the foreground. They are what we call archetypes. And what they are is, and again, like I said in the first call, the purpose of this is we're not making a brand for you. We're not making this brand. It's not for you, right? It's for your audience. It's for your consumers. So this is just a reminder of these are the people that are going to be seeing your brand. These are the people that are going to be experiencing your brand. And you should think of that when we go through this process. So these are the 3 people that will be experiencing this once it comes to life. And they all together represent the community that you're focused on. like you said in our call, that your audience is definitely ranges a lot from, preteens to older gentlemen, middle-aged gentlemen that pretty much come from the same communities that you come from and are inspired by, motivational music and not like the new age rap or music that's just degrading, right? So these are the archetypes. Let's look at the left side of this. We have the first archetype that I kind of worked off of, and he's more so probably your main demographic of people around your age, your mid-20s, late 20s. That's clearly he's woke. He has the light bulb on his shirt, so he's clearly your demographic, right? And he's just a cool guy, right? And he's here about a city you see on the right side. He's in a busy environment, and we're using this imagery that you see around him. We're using this to stick out in this environment so that you're kind of gaining this guy's attention, and then you're leading him into your brand experience with your music and with your imagery and with your message. And I feel like someone like him would resonate with all this put together. You have your slogans on the left side. You have the vibe board for Experience Real. That's your name of your company. I like this graffiti here. This is a custom font that I found that I think would be great to use along with your brand. We can, everything that's here is really just kind of the vibe I believe you should give off. At the end of this, if you feel like there's some things you don't like about it or don't, we'll walk through it together. But just show you all of it. Got some colors down here by the left just to show you what I think would pop together for your brand. These are the colors that I think would work. And this first part right here, real life, that you see, this is part of one of the marketing strategies or slogans I believe you could use. Real life, and then on this other side you see real love, real revolution. Those three things together, real life, real love, real revolution. I feel like those go great together, and could be a good way you could market on like a billboard or online or something. So you mentioned people of your audiences are in the city, and you also mentioned that you love Afro Samurai anime, and also the synergy of anime and now how it's becoming more popular in the urban community.
Ty, can I interrupt real quick? You're taking too long to get through this.
I'm sorry.
You got to speed this up. We're almost out of time now.
Okay, I'm done pretty much. So
wrap it up.
You mentioned this rabbit here. You mentioned like that because that is your Chinese zodiac, and you feel like the rabbit shows that you're cunning and agile in this environment. And I believe this rabbit could become a rabbit. Your own personalized rabbit could become a symbol for your revolution, a symbol for an inspiring image in the community. So these are other two archetypes in the field that we're trying to get here with the graffiti, with the splatter. The reason why we have these letters over here, because I feel like outside of the graffiti, you're also going to use a simplified letter mark, which probably just the E and the R or something like that we could do. So we're going to talk through that. Here's the whole vibe board all together once again. And thanks for having me. Thanks for looking through this with me. And I'm looking really excited to get into the full logo design. This is just a concept that kind of came across right now, so we can kind of talk through this.
All right. Good job, man. Good job. All right. Okay. A couple of things. You saw that in the first two presenters, both with Abby and Chelsea, you got to tighten this up. You got to tighten it up. I know you just presented this to your client and they loved it. So it should be really easy for you to explain it again without having to go into all that stuff. So I'm going to really mostly, with the time that I have left with you, mostly focus on your presentation. I'm going to just quickly hit the keynote or the presentation deck. I like that you're integrating the design elements. You can see also in the comments that people are talking about the splatters and how you're integrating it all into the visual language throughout. Sometimes those things can be a little distracting on the stylescape itself. So I would just ask you to back off on that, like by 30%. I get it for everything else, right? So it's like spraying everywhere. I get it. You're integrating everything. Okay. Couple of really quick things. I noticed in the very beginning, when you talk for a really long time and the slide hasn't changed, you're going to lose me. You're going to lose me as you level up and you work with bigger budget clients, and especially people who have power, influence, and fame. They don't have a lot of time. You don't need to sell it. And the more that you try and sell something, the more I start to get like, hey, just show me the work. Just show me the work. Let's get into it, right? And so you did like 2 or 3 things that I don't think you need to do. You explained to me it was a vibe board, but that's kind of like a mood board. But then you learned it from this other guy. you know, you normally wouldn't say all that stuff, right? I know you're just doing it for camera right now.
Of course.
But you don't need to talk about me or where you learned it from. Just own it, talk about it, tell them what it's for, and just move on. Really, we're here to see and celebrate the design and get feedback going, right? Yep. That's what you want to do. So if you talk too much, you're not going to be able to read the person.
Understood.
Okay, so that's the biggest tip I have for you is a little setup, and then really get into the meat so you can talk about all the little parts and pieces. And one of the things that you said during this presentation was the name of your company is, and maybe you're just doing it for our camera so that I know, but you would never tell the client what the name of the company is because they already know. They already know. It's like, hey, Mr. John, your name is John. I'm like, yes, I know. I get it, right? Correct, so a couple other little things here. You have, is it called Real or Rio? How do you say it?
Yeah, Real. It's Real.
Okay.
It's Real.
Yeah. I don't think I want to see it 4 times. It's like precious real estate you have here. Mm-hmm. Like experience real life, real love, real revolution. I get that that's a campaign idea, right? Those things could just be grouped together, like stacked on top of each other, much smaller, real life, real love. And then you got to talk about that, how that could be this living, organic, breathing identity system that it works for all their sub-brands, real life, real love, real revolution, all the different campaigns they're trying to launch. I think that's a smart play, but spreading it across just takes a very precious real estate that you just don't have time to deal with. Okay?
Sounds good.
Okay, so I want you to know this. You arrive confident, fully ready to talk about your work. Don't take too long to get to it because it makes me feel, and I know this is not the case, it makes me feel like you're not confident about the work. Go ahead and talk about it. Let them dive in. Invite them into the conversation. From time to time, check in. How are we feeling about this? Did I get this part right? And then move on. Okay?
Yeah, appreciate the advice, Chris.
Okay, very good, Ty. All right. Who's up? Who's up next, Ben?